Welcome to our tutorial video. In this video, we'll show you how to design a coffee machine settings screen, allowing users to adjust various parameters. For the steps of designing the main screen, please refer to Part 1 of the tutorial video, and for the processing screen, please refer to Part 3. To get started, please add a new screen. Basic settings such as background color won't be illustrated in this video. 1. Set up the coffee variety panel. Drag the coffee and background image you need onto the screen. Add a new panel and name it Coffee Panel. Set its width to 225 and height to 325. Enable background and border and set the opacity and width to 0. From the dendrogram, drag both the coffee image and background image below the coffee panel. Adjust the order so that the coffee image appears above the background image. Set the background images X and Y to 0. And set the coffee images X to 0 and Y to -15. Add a label and name it Label 6. Enter Americano in the text field, set the color to number 844121, and select Coffee Font for the font. Drag the label below the panel and adjust the order so that it appears above the image. Then set its X to 0 and Y to -102. Then adjust the panel's position on the screen. For example, set its X to -225 and Y to 0, which will move it to the desired position you want. Finally, remember to switch the panel's scroll bar mode from the default automatic to off so that the buttons don't scroll with the scroll wheel. 2. Adjustable Parameters panel. Here we take coffee bean as an example. First, drag the coffee bean image onto the screen. Then add a new label and name it Label 7. Enter coffee bean, set the color to white, and select Coffee Font for the font. After the above steps, the icon and the name of the parameter is completed. Next, let's add a slider widget which represents the quantity. Because a slider consists of 3 parts, the main, the knob, and the indicator, each part needs to be configured separately. First, add a slider. Name the slider Slider 1. Set the width to 150 and the height to 38. Set the value in range to 50, making the indicator default being centered. Set the slider's color to number 312421, the gradient direction to none, and the border color to #A16B52. Enable Common, set the radius to 0, and uncheck Clip Corner. Next, select Knob from the Part drop-down menu in Style. Set opacity and background to 0 to hide the knob. Also set the radius to 0 and uncheck Clip Corner in Common. Finally, select Indicator from the Part drop-down menu. Set the indicator's color to white, the gradient color to #EA5A2A, and the gradient direction to horizontal. Set the radius to 0 and uncheck Clip Corner in Common. After completing the slider settings, it's time to create the plus and minus buttons. Add a new button and name it Button 1. Enable background image and select the -sign background image. Set the width and height to 45, and set the background opacity and shadow width to 0. Select a different background image for the pressed state. After completing the appearance, the next step is to configure the button events. Select the minus button and switch the attribute window on the right to the Event Manager. Click New and select Pressed in the Trigger field. Select the Slider 1 as the event target. Check the box next to Value, select Increase instead of default set in the drop-down menu, and enter -1 for the value. This completes the button settings. The settings for the plus button are basically the same, with the only differences being the image and the value being 1 instead of -1. After setting up all the widgets individually, you'll need to group them together using the Parameter Setting panel. Add a new panel and name it Bean Panel. Set its width to 500 and its height to 75. Set the background opacity, border width, and shadow width to 0. Drag the project image, name Label, Slider, and 2 buttons under the Bean panel to make them sub-items. Arrange the order of the components. The order from left to right is Image, Label, Minus button, Slider, Plus button. Enable the flow option in the Flex to automatically align the widgets in the panel. Once configured, change the panel scroll bar mode from the default auto to off. This completes the coffee bean parameter panel. Simply duplicate the bean panel and modify the image, label, and the event target widgets of the buttons. You can set up the panels for the other parameters, such as the volume, temperature, and milk, in a similar way. 3. The design and event setting of Cancel button. Add a new button and name it Cancel button. Set its width to 125 and its height to 45, and set both its background opacity and shadow width to 0. Select a background image for the Cancel button and set a different background image for the pressed state. Set its X to -80 and Y to 200. Next, we're going to set the button's event, which is the screen transition effect displayed when the button is pressed. Select Cancel button and switch from Attribute to the Event Manager. Click New and select Pressed in the trigger field. Enable Load Screen and select Main Screen from the Screen drop-down menu. Set the time to 1000 milliseconds, the delay to 0 milliseconds, and the transition to fade out. Once configured, it will return to the main menu when the Cancel button is pressed. 4. Set up the page title label. Add a new label and name it Label 11. Enter the page title settings in the text field. Set the text color to white. To distinguish the title from the body text, a new Mandarin font, title font, has been added. The only difference between this new font and coffee font is the size has been changed from 18 to 20. After selecting the font, set the labels X to 0 and Y to -215, and this completes the screen. After the above steps, the coffee machine setup screen is complete. For the steps for designing the main screen, please refer to Part 1 of the tutorial video, and for the processing screen, please refer to Part 3 of the tutorial video. If there's any question, feel free to leave a message. See you in the next video.